Hey everybody, we're going to be starting Peppermint in just a few minutes. We'll just get started in just a second as everybody hops on. I will go ahead and, I'm real excited to talk to you guys today about Peppermint. Hi Edith. When Gina talked to us about picking our oil that we'd want to talk about, I chose Peppermint because Peppermint actually was my conversion oil. I call it my conversion oil because way back when, before I started doing doTERRA full time, I was a nurse, a full-time nurse. I worked night shift, and I still, have a passion for Western medicine, but now, of course, I am wholeheartedly into natural remedies and natural solutions. But back in the day, I probably wouldn't say I was as open to natural solutions. So one of my best friends in the whole world, Rhonda Ford, we had this graduation party for our kids. I guess it was way over 10 years ago now. We were having this party at her house because our kids grew up together, and they were graduating from high school. And like I said at the time, I worked night shift in the hospital, and I would get frequent headaches, and I was an Excedrin girl. I hate to say it, but that was my go-to at the time. And Rhonda, she has told me since that I was an intimidating share for her because I was a nurse and that I had a science background, and she didn't think that I would be open-minded. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have been. But I had this splitting headache during the graduation party that we were having, and I did not have any Excedrin. So I said, Rhonda, I knew she used essential oils. I knew that she used holistic and natural things. But I thought maybe she would have a Tylenol or an ibuprofen or something. And I said, Rhonda, do you have anything for a headache? And she said, well, yes, I do. So she pulled out a bottle of Peppermint, and I said, okay, I was open to trying it, but mostly to show her that it probably wouldn't work. So anyway, I said, okay, what do I do? And so she said, put a drop on your finger and rub it on your temples, and then just rub it across your forehead and the back of your neck. So I did that, and it was mind-blowing to me because literally within just a few minutes, I could feel the tension in my head start to release. And that piqued my curiosity enough to explore essential oils and to, learn why they worked. And that's one thing that really fascinated me when I started learning about the science and how they actually work on a chemical level, much like many of our other alternatives work. They actually are working on a cellular level, and very, very effective. So that was my first experience with essential oils, was Peppermint, and it was enough that I became obsessed with natural medicine and natural plant remedies. So the cool thing and there are some really cool studies on a peppermint essential oil and headaches. They're published studies, which I am very into that. I love to see the science behind how the oils really work. We know that peppermint is widely known for digestive support and anti-inflammatory support. There's actually 30 different compounds in pure peppermint essential oil. And the complexity of these 30 different compounds is actually what gives peppermint the ability to act on a physical and mental, our mental and physical systems in the body. And one of the active compounds in peppermint is menthol. Menthol is an organic compound that actually works as a discomfort modulator and actually is a soothing agent in the body. Another great confirmation for me about essential oils is one of my nurse colleagues at the time. She had pretty severe arthritis in her hands, and she was on a lot of medications for her arthritis, and she decided to just try the peppermint. And so she would just literally rub it onto her hands and through her wrists, and apply some lotion with it, and she was able to decrease almost all of the discomfort that she felt in her hands and wrists from her arthritis. So that was another really cool experience that I had early on with peppermint essential oil. Peppermint is a natural anti-inflammatory and analgesic, which is one reason that it worked so well with my headache and with her arthritis. We also know that peppermint has antibacterial and antispasmodic properties, as well as providing support for any type of nerve pain. So it helps with nerves, joint, anything like that. And then another early experience that I had with peppermint is I used to work night shift, and I'm not a coffee drinker, so working overnight several days in a row, you can imagine that you kind of get run down after a while. Many of my colleagues would drink coffee all night, and my go-to was peppermint. It just really helped me stay invigorated and alert. Peppermint has been shown to increase alertness, memory, accuracy, and mental clarity even. In fact, it's believed that peppermint will stimulate the hippocampus. All right, let's try it again, you guys. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. We're having a big storm, and apparently my internet got knocked off. So we are gonna try this again. And I'm not sure exactly where my first portion ended, but we're gonna just put the videos together. So bear with me, you guys. So the last thing that I mentioned is that peppermint is really invigorating. And it's something that I used a lot while I was working night shifts to help me stay alert. And just, it actually felt like it increased my energy, honestly, when I would put it on. Hello again. So it is actually believed that peppermint will stimulate the hippocampus in the brain and actually will increase oxygen saturation, which in turn creates increased alertness, supports memory and cognitive functions. And the other cool thing is that peppermint actually has calming effects. Have you ever used peppermint when you're stressed out and you just apply it and feel an immediate calm or peace, and it helps you have deeper breaths? So it's just a great oil for calming and energy, and it's actually been shown that peppermint can actually slow the release of a stress hormone called cortisol, which is really fascinating. Peppermint also is really great for fevers. Obviously, I'm not using non-compliant language. Sorry, Gina. And that's coming from a nurse. Sorry. But it helps support the body when you're fighting off any ailments. And as I mentioned, one of the main components in peppermint is menthol, which has a cooling effect on the body as well, which is one thing that supports when you might have a fever and you apply peppermint. The other really obviously big area that peppermint supports is anything digestive related. So when I fly, I experience nausea. And one thing I love to do, if I don't, I do fly with my peppermint usually always. But if I don't happen to have my peppermint and I have these, then this is like my backup peppermint. So obviously you can take the beadlets internally, but you can also always pop them open if you need the oil to apply topically. They work really, really great for that, and aromatically. So just pop those open. So another really great thing about peppermint is it actually works like an antiemetic and an antispasmodic, which is really great for supporting the gastric lining in the colon, which in turn means that it's great for nausea and vomiting. And I would use it internally and aromatically. Even topically on the abdomen is really great too. So one study noted that peppermint has the ability to reduce indigestion and colon spasms. Another study found that an enteric-coated peppermint oil capsule was actually tested successfully in the treatment of irritable bowel or IBS. So that's one reason we're very blessed to have the enteric-coated peppermint. And that doesn't mean you only use it if you have severe digestive issues. It can be used for any digestive support. Sometimes I take it if I'm not really having ailments, but I just want a little digestive boost. So it's really great for that. And scientists have also found that patients who were given peppermint oil had an accelerated gastric emptying rate, which I think is really great. So simply told, the peppermint oil sped up the rate that the stomach emptied. So for those who might suffer discomfort from eating too much, peppermint oil can move the digestive process along. So if you like for nights like last night, for Super Bowl parties or whatever, you want to make sure that you have your peppermint to help empty your stomach a little faster. So it's really great for that. And then of course, we have Peppermint Touch, which is ideal for kids and babies or people with sensitive skin. So we have 4 options for peppermint, and I use them all, honestly. And then just to wrap up, I just wanted to share, sometimes we leave out the emotional part of what oils can do for us, and I think that can't be discredited because, like I said, when I was first introduced to oils, I was the biggest skeptic. I really was, and I joke that I went from a skeptic to a closet user, and now I just am full throttle with all things natural. And if someone would have told me that essential oils could give you emotional support 10 years ago, I probably would have rolled my eyes. But that was a very narrow-minded and closed view. And it did take science and research to fully convert me to using essential oils and to fully understanding them. And that is the cool thing about what we have now is there are hundreds and hundreds of studies and science that supports how essential oils are effective in our bodies and for emotional. So just to close, I just want to read the emotional support of peppermint. Peppermint brings joy and buoyancy to the heart and soul. It invigorates body, mind, and spirit, and reminds individuals that life can be happy and they don't have to be controlled by fear. It lifts an individual out of their emotional trials for a short reprieve. And there's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to share that little bit. And I really want to challenge you guys not to forget peppermint. It's one of the more common oils. And did you know that actually peppermint was in the first 5 oils that doTERRA first had available? So you know its importance if it was in the top 5, and you also know how important it is if it's the oil that you get when you renew your membership. So don't discredit peppermint, and just include it in your Feel Great with 8. And thank you, Gina, for doing this program for us, and you guys have a great day.